For the longest time, the idea of owning a home meant one thing, right? A single-family house, maybe a little yard. But what if that whole dream, the one we've been chasing for generations, is actually, well, financially flawed? Let's talk about a much more powerful way to think about homeownership, a new blueprint for building real wealth.
So let's just cut right to it with a big question. Is that dream home you're thinking about an asset that's going to build your wealth? Or is it really a liability that's going to drain your bank account every single month? The answer, as you'll see, is not what you might think.
All right, first up, the dream versus the reality. We're going to break down that traditional idea of homeownership and stack it up against what a lot of savvy people are doing right now. That single-family house, right? It's been the poster child for success forever, but something's changing. We're seeing this really strategic shift happen, and it's not about style or trends, it's about smart money. People are actively moving away from what you could call a liability-based lifestyle, where the biggest thing you own is also your single biggest expense.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. Look on the left, the single-family home. Every single penny of that mortgage, the taxes, the upkeep, it's all on you. It's supported by one thing, your paycheck. Now look at the right, the multi-unit model. This is totally different. It transforms your home into an actual asset. The rent you get from your tenants helps pay the bills, meaning you have multiple streams of income all supporting one property. So, how exactly does this all add up to a smarter financial plan? Let's get into the nitty-gritty and break down the major advantages.
Really, it all boils down to three huge wins. You get to diversify your income, you get economies of scale, and you seriously lower your risk if a unit goes empty. Let's start with that first one, diversification.
The first big advantage here is just plain security. I mean, think about it. If you lose your job and you're in a single-family house, that mortgage payment is suddenly 100% your problem to solve. Panic mode, right? But if you live in a triplex, well, you've still got two other tenants paying rent. That income can literally cover the mortgage and keep you afloat while you figure things out. That is a massive safety net. And this chart, wow, it just makes the risk so clear. When you rent out a single-family house and that tenant moves out, your income from that property drops to zero, 100% loss, instantly. But in a fourplex, if one unit is empty, yeah, it stings, but it's only a 25% dip in income. You still have 75% of the rent coming in. It's just a fundamentally safer, more stable way to invest your money. So you might be wondering, okay, this sounds great, but how do regular people actually make this happen? Well, they use this incredibly powerful strategy that's totally changed the game. It's called house hacking. Now, the concept sounds fancy, but it's actually super simple. You buy a small multi-unit building, like a duplex, triplex, or fourplex. You live in one of the units yourself, and your neighbors, who are your tenants, pay you rent. And that rent goes towards paying down, or even completely covering, your entire mortgage. And here's the absolute game changer. This is the key that unlocks it all. Because you're living in one of the units, the government sees it as your primary residence. That means you can get special financing, like an FHA loan in the US, and you can buy an income-producing property of up to 4 units for as little as 3.5% down. Just think about that. That's a tiny fraction of the 20 or 25% down you'd normally need for a pure investment property.
Let's just run the numbers, because this is where it gets really fun. Let's say your total mortgage payment, that's principal, interest, taxes, insurance, the whole shebang, is $3,000 a month. Now, if you're renting out 2 other units for, say, $1,600 each, that means you're bringing in $3,200 a month. Your $3,000 housing cost is completely gone, wiped out, and you're actually left with a $200 surplus every month. Just let that sink in. You are literally getting paid to live in your own home.
But look, this isn't just about living for free, as amazing as that sounds. That's just the start. This whole strategy is actually an engine for putting your long-term wealth creation into hyperdrive in ways a single-family home could never touch. I love this quote because it just nails the core idea. Every single month when your tenants pay their rent, a chunk of that money is paying down your loan. They are literally, month by month, buying you an asset that's going up in value. This whole wealth-building machine really stands on 3 pillars. First, you build equity 2, 3, even 4 times faster than you would in a single house. Second, you get awesome tax benefits. You can depreciate the property's value, which can lower your overall taxable income. And third, you have the power of forced appreciation. You can make smart upgrades, new kitchens, fresh paint, and actively increase the value and the rent you can charge for all the units. And if all of that wasn't enough, there are a few other kinda hidden advantages that make this an incredibly smart, forward-thinking move. These are the kind of perks you find when you do the deep dive. Think about it.
You're getting a cheap 30-year fixed residential loan on what is, for all intents and purposes, a small business. That's incredible leverage. Also, managing 3 or 4 units at one address is way, way easier than having 3 or 4 separate houses all over town. And finally, you're future-proofing your investment. As our cities get more and more dense, these kinds of multi-unit properties are only going to become more valuable.
So, after looking at the numbers, the safety nets, the insane wealth-building potential, it all comes down to this one last question for you. When you really think about your own financial future, is it time to maybe tear up that old single-family dream and rewrite the blueprint for what homeownership can actually be?